clearly we needed now to move from the thinking, from the theory into practice of it, into action of it. How do we actually actualize a continental free trade area? How do we get people and goods and services moving across borders? So clearly, such conferences and many more to come, I think, are extremely important to bring together the private sector, the academia, the government sector, the governmental sector, to make sure we are all on the same page regarding how do we actually open up borders. Because clearly the whole, to summarize the whole thing about CFTA is open up the borders, open up the skies, open up the borders on the ground, trade freely, move freely, and this is how we can only achieve what was desired as a common CFTA.
Right.
So this conference and many others, I think the Commission should work very hard to make sure it brings together all the stakeholders across board, and to make sure sooner than later we actually actualize the CFTA.
Right. Actualization of the CFTA will require an extra 10 ratifications. So far we only have 12. Of course, we've been told that the others are at advanced stages in ratifying. Talk to me about what you think about the pace that is being taken by the African leaders or those governments in actually ratifying this particular pact.
In my view, to be honest, the pace is slow. I would have thought that by now, CFTA was signed in March this year, this end of the year. I would have expected that by now all the countries have ratified. I expect they will do. There are, of course, a few challenges usually in some of these things. When you come to trade in particular blocks in particular countries, there are all sorts of considerations to be made, and it has to go through legislature, and it has to be processed through their laws. It has to go through, all sorts of levels to be processed, and it takes time for some of the people to understand actually the benefits of this. As Vice Chair of the East African Business Council, which is actually a reality in what we're doing in achieving regional integration, in achieving progress, lots of progress across the region, we cannot wait further really to sign up. So my call would be to those countries to sign up as quick as possible. The East African region is a living example, living testimony of what regional integration means. When you look at our common market protocol and what it has achieved so far, so many things. Business has grown, economic performance has grown as a result of simple agreeing to work together. And currently we have the private sector working clearly with the governmental bodies in the region. And we have made several steps ahead.
Right.
So my call would be, we are available to be the example across the continent, and then we move.
Right. Being example, yes, but of course not without challenges. The East African community itself has also had its fair share of challenges. There's been calls for business, from business leaders, for governments to actually fully implement the protocols that they signed up to. The free movement of people. We still have countries that are not allowing people to move with just their IDs. So talk to me about how the East African community can still be a role model despite these challenges that are actually existing here.
Let me tell you, in any undertaking, it may never be achieved to get 100% success. Believe me. But when you are at 70%, 75%, you are doing so good. So in our particular case, I know that in East Africa, we have not achieved all the provisions of our common market protocol. But we are at about 85% achievement. That's good enough, honestly. If on the continent we achieve 75%, the other 25%, you keep, going around and massage and explain, and all these things happen because, as you know, in some cases there's politics involved. In some cases there'll be international obligations people already have, and they have to consult, which in my view is unfortunate, but it happens in a few member states. They may have to consult their external partners out there. I don't want to go deep into that, but I know it's a reality. So achieving 100% may not be, we may not see it now, but if we're at 80, 85, perfect, then we work.
Yep. Fair enough. Before I let you go, the role of regional economic blocs. We have countries that have signed up to the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, but they also have signed up allegiance to other regional economic blocs. We have, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania that are actually within the East African community. We have others who are in ECOWAS, and you can name all those economic blocs that we have, and each of them probably are wondering what's going to happen when we now say the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is taking effect. Which one will supersede the other when it comes to rules? Does this worry these community blocs, in your opinion?
It doesn't worry as such, but what I think, and this is the advice we are going to be presenting formally to the Economic Commission for Africa. I think the Economic Commission should bring us together. There are several trade blocs on the continent currently. The East African Business Council, the SADC, the ECOWAS, North Africa has the COMESA existing. North Africa doesn't have a properly structured business bloc as such. What I think we need to do now is to ask the Economic Commission to bring us together, bring the different trade blocs together. And then we think together. We bring together, put on the table what our common market protocols are. And then from the different protocols, can we now work, find a group of experts to develop one common market protocol that serves us as a continent? Because, we have COMESA, which has a fair number of countries, about 15, I think. And there was desire to have the expanded COMESA. So now here we are with an easy opportunity, CFTA. So we need a continental common market protocol, and then we work to implement it.
Right. Does that mean that the future of this REX is actually bleak? Do we plan to see in the few years to come some of them being collapsed so that we can accommodate this one economic bloc that you say?
I really think so. I really think, because the desire on us in the private sector to work together is way, way ahead of the paperwork that has to be done to make it formal. So the desire is there. We want to trade with each other. Believe me, we already bust borders in as far as we are concerned as the private sector. We bust the borders working together. We are actually already working together. We work together with the outside Africa more than we work with the Africa. So the desire is there. It's very present. So all we need to do now is simply formalize it and get the governmental side to sign up to this, do the ratifications, and we get moving.